Hi there, my name is Helen Houghton and I'm applying for the Graduate Management Programme with yourselves. So firstly I'm going to give you a bit of information about the performance of the UK rental market today compared to 5 years ago. So firstly, 5 years ago, renting was seen kind of more of a temporary form of accommodation. So something that mainly young professionals were doing, finishing university, heading towards London and kind of getting their foot on the career ladders while saving some money to then buy a house sort of as they get older and as they kind of get a more defined career. However, we have seen that this has not necessarily been the case. So in 2008, we obviously had the crash, and then one of the byproducts of that was that it was quite difficult to get a mortgage, and kind of the different terms of getting a mortgage were a lot sort of harder for younger people, and so it was kind of mainly older people getting mortgages and not so much the young people. And they expected that this would actually improve as the economy picked back up, and we were kind of expecting that, give it a few more years, maybe 5-10 years, that, mortgages would be easier to get and the rules wouldn't be quite as difficult. However, this has not been the case whatsoever, and we have actually come to a kind of what is now known as generation rent, which is like a whole generation of people who for them renting is actually a way of life. It's not just a means to an end, it's not a stopgap, it's not kind of a way to kind of live whilst you're saving that deposit for a house. This is what people do. I mean, the average age of a first-time buyer today is over 40, and so that kind of shows how there's been a shift culturally in when people are buying their first properties. So we kind of see there's a massive influx in the amount of people who are currently renting in the rental market. So if we look at the price of rents, they're actually 15.2% higher today than they were in May 2010. So we can see that as more and more people have been entering the rental market, the price has been steadily increasing, which is due to a lack of supply of rental properties, as obviously it wasn't kind of thought that renting was going to be a long-term living arrangement for some people. It was kind of meant to be a stopgap. So this massive increase means that people are actually spending more money in the rental market. I mean, the average national renting price per month is around £768, but in the southeast alone it's actually £936 per calendar month, which is a 7% increase on this time last year. So we can see how a lot of people's money is actually going into their renting, leaving them less money to kind of put towards a deposit for that house. Obviously, we can also see that in the southeast it's £200 per month higher to rent than anywhere else in the UK. So it kind of shows you, obviously, how more people are kind of heading towards London, because the southeast is obviously commutable to London and it's a desirable place to live. So we can kind of see this area has a lot of potential for people who are wishing to rent properties, not just for a short term but for an actual long-term way of living. Rental Britain is here to stay, even though the government are pushing for more kind of home ownership products such as shared ownership, and also the new initiatives for first-time buyers such as Help to Buy ISA, discounts for first-time buyers, and there are so many other measures. But we can see this actually isn't as feasible as it sounds, because people's money is tied up in renting, and so there's actually a massive demographic of people that can be targeted within the rental market. In 2011, the government introduced the Affordable Homes Policy, whereby they were hoping to have built 400,000 new affordable homes by 2015, but recent statistics have showed that they haven't actually delivered these homes that they were promising. And so those people who they were expecting to buy the affordable properties are actually moving into the rental market. So we see there's an influx of people moving into renting away from that sort of first-time buyers. Additionally, pay-to-stay legislation for social housing tenants. Obviously, there is a number of people today who live in social housing, but there are also some people living in social housing who actually have a higher income than their rents. And so if they want to stay in their social properties, they're going to have to pay higher rents. And obviously there's not a massive amount of choice within the social rental market. And so these people who were originally social tenants will move into the rental market in the private sector as they have that money, and then they'll have that choice to kind of find a property that suits them more than something that they've been allocated based on a housing register. Also, one of the sort of other factors pushing rents up is the lack of supply. So obviously there's recent legislation that the government have just brought in with taxing buy-to-let landlords 3% on stamp duty. So this is probably kind of acting as a deterrent for people who are looking to buy properties with the sole purpose of renting them out and making a profit, paying off their mortgages, and maybe for some people it's a kind of way to retire. So this is kind of hindering those people that would buy properties to rent, which is kind of squashing the demand squashing the supply even of the rental properties, yet that demand is actually increasing at an alarming rate. A recent study by the English government's English Housing Survey showed that on average there are 17,500 new households entering the rental sector each and every month, and so there's a massive amount of people who keep moving in to rental properties, but a small amount of properties available to them. So this is increasing the rents, which is great for people who are in the position to rent out and charge higher rents and make more money that way. So we can see it's actually quite a lot of untapped potential in the rental sector. The government are also pushing a other initiative, which is the build to rent. So they're actually kind of giving private institutions and private builders equity finance in order to build rental properties that will purely for the rental purpose. And this is actually quite a new idea, because most new builds have been aimed at kind of first-time buyers and discounts in that respect. So the idea that we're actually going to be building more rental properties is quite a new idea for us. But in the grand scheme of things, if we look to other countries like Germany, renting has always been seen as a long-term thing, and the majority of people rent because it's cheaper, than the supply is there. So who knows what the future will hold for housing? We don't know if something like that will happen here, or if maybe the different initiatives will actually encourage more people to buy, or they encourage more people to build purely for the purpose of rent. So we get more kind of purpose-built rental properties, not kind of houses that were maybe ex-council houses or buy-to-lets. So it actually means a great deal of choice, potentially, for renters. So it's a great market to be in right now. Okay, so I studied sociology at university, and this is where I kind of feel that it kind of underpinned my desire and my interest in understanding people and kind of what drives people to do the things they do. So I guess from a customer perspective, it's kind of understanding what it is people are after, and maybe kind of trying to find something for them before they realise it themselves. And from a kind of management perspective, it's kind of wanting to understand how people kind of think the way they do and kind of get the best from them, and that's something I've always been really interested in. Additionally, at university, I studied a couple of modules that kind of related directly to housing, which was contemporary political sociology and sociology of the North. So both these modules, we kind of focus on housing and how it's evolved over time, and the kind of choices people make in kind of picking housing and how it's available and how it's kind of all interlinked with government strategies and budgets, etc. So it's quite a little interest of mine, and I think it's something that it affects a great deal of society. If we think about it, more people live in the kind of private rental sector than the social. So working in housing associations at the moment, this is where I kind of feel that what we're doing is not necessarily something that affects a great many of people compared to the amount of people that are in the world, or in the UK even, who are living in, obviously everyone lives in houses, so it has to go from somewhere. So actually, for me, a great deal of people are more in the rental sector, and this is kind of something that's more interesting for me than just the kind of small amounts that live in social housing. I mean, also working as a property administrator kind of gave me the kind of more commercial aspect of property and kind of the estate side and maintenance and etc. stuff like that. And this is where I really found a great interest, and I felt like this is something I could actually do. So I finished university in 2013. So I've been working kind of in the real working environment for the last 3 years. So I kind of feel like I've been able to kind of pinpoint my interests and see where I want to go in the future. In my current role, I kind of liaise with different departments around the organisation and kind of offer them guidance on how they can streamline processes, make them more efficient. And so from this angle, it's kind of giving people advice and kind of helping them. It's kind of made me more interested in the management side, and hope to see myself in a more of a senior management role one day. So that's the plan for the next 5 years. An interesting fact about myself, I've lived in 3 of the 4 corners of the UK. So I'm born and raised in the northwest. I moved to the northeast for my degree, and I'm currently living in the southeast for work. And I'm hoping one day I'll be able to retire to the southwest and live by the seaside. So that's the plan. Thank you very much for listening to my video and watching. Thank you.